We have hit a new record here at Minutes of Horror. I have not made a commercial airplane video in 2 weeks, which is honestly shocking because we have been hearing bad news after bad news in the media when it comes to planes. People almost sitting in vomit. They saw diarrhea up and down the aisle. They were smelling it. They were actually even trying to open the plane door mid-flight because the smell of the diarrhea was so strong. Then we had, in the month of July alone, 46 near hits where planes were colliding into one another. And let's not forget, there were people that were seeing non-human entities on their flights, causing them to panic. Then on top of everything else, we have seen a number of issues arise inside airports as well. There were glitches where entire fleets of planes had to remain grounded. And then we saw a number of security breaches where people either had to evacuate or remain locked down inside the airport. So yeah, 2023 has been a rather crazy year when it comes to commercial airplanes and flying. But these past 2 weeks has been rather calm when it comes to airplane stories, or so we thought. As I sat at my kitchen table and had a bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, because Cinnamon Toast Crunch is the best cereal, I found a rather recent, very terrifying story involving airplanes. Perhaps the most terrifying story in 2023 involving planes. Now, I actually happened to read this article a couple weeks ago where Southwest Airlines pulled questionable parts from a jet engine on one of its planes after being notified by suppliers that this plane's engine was using fake parts. As horrifying as that sounds, and it does sound like a story that belongs on Minutes of Horror, I didn't make a big deal out of it because it only happened on one plane. They were able to take out the fake parts, resolve the issue, and that be that. It was case closed. But since I am now making a video on this topic, things must have gotten spookier. Because it's not just Southwest Airlines, it's not just one plane. Matter of fact, 3 major airliners, United, Southwest, and American Airlines across multiple planes have been found to be using fake parts. When I say fake parts, I'm not talking about a fake plane toilet, or a fake passenger seat, or a fake food tray. No, I am talking about fake parts that are associated with the plane's engine. Let me say that one more time. Fake parts are being used inside the plane's engine, one of the most important parts of the plane. We also don't know the other important parts on these planes that are now deemed fake. It looks like another improper part being put on these planes were turbine blades. Now, a commercial airline plane can easily glide without its engines, so sometimes a plane can experience failure in both of its engines, but that's not always the issue. Sometimes these engines that are using improper parts can actually catch on fire. They can actually explode. We actually saw this happen about a month ago where a Southwest plane, its engine caught on fire shortly after takeoff, prompting an emergency landing. Professionals have stated these people were lucky to even get a warning because incompatible parts can lead to a catastrophic explosion. When an engine explodes, it can send shrapnel flying. Matter of fact, in 2018, an engine exploded and shrapnel actually hit one passenger, ending the life of that passenger. It can also hit the fuel tank, causing the entire plane to explode, like in the case of TWA Flight 800. The pilot can even lose complete control of the plane. It has been found that these very dangerous, illegitimate parts have been used on over 100 planes so far. The supplier of these parts are called AOG Technics, a United Kingdom-based company. AOG Technics, the supplier of these hazardous parts, were falsifying paperwork saying their parts met safety regulations, that they were approved to be put on major airliners. In the falsified paperwork, they were even saying how their parts were compatible with specific parts of a specific plane, when they were not. American Airlines was the most recent airline company to say they have found incompatible parts on some of their aircraft. It's very terrifying to find out that you are flying 36,000 feet in the air inside an airplane that has parts that has not met safety regulations that are pretty much considered bogus. It's scary to think you're driving in a car where the brakes have not met safety regulations. The brakes can pretty much be considered fake. But there is a whole new level of fear unlocked knowing you're flying in a plane where this plane has parts that has not met safety regulations. But this crazy story becomes even crazier. These airline companies are now suing AOG Technics not only for the money they lost by buying these fake parts, but also because there could have been a major crash, a major incident resulting in massive loss of life. Not only that, it also puts the airline company's reputation at risk, because between all these near hits that have been happening and these fake parts being used, I'm no longer flying on a plane. An attorney representing one of these airliners has stated AOG Technics had created a deliberate, dishonest, and sophisticated scheme to deceive the market with falsified documents on an industrial scale. AOG Technics seemed to have closed up shop, and it is being assumed they were never even a real company to begin with. Its website and LinkedIn page are no longer available, and Google lists the company as permanently closed. Those running AOG Technics may have also forged fake LinkedIn profiles for made-up employees. All the employees said to be working for AOG Technics on LinkedIn came out to be fake. They were not real people, except for one man, one executive, Ray Kwong. Now, Ray does have a very lengthy history working for companies like Nissan and Mitsubishi, but when Bloomberg called these companies to verify his employment, come to find out, they never heard of a Ray Kwong. So you may be asking yourself, how did this fake company even get airplane parts to begin with to sell to major airline companies? Well, one can simply go to an airplane boneyard and find many discarded parts meant for older commercial airplanes. So AOG would go to these airplane boneyards and find much older generation Airbus parts and resell them as new. And scary enough is that these older parts were only meant for short travel for these older generation airplanes. But these incompatible older parts were being put on much newer planes, and these planes were flying long distance. Some are even questioning the airline's role in buying these fake parts. These airline companies are supposed to audit these suppliers to make sure no hazardous parts are being passed through, and the fact that we have multiple big airline companies, over 100 planes, having bogus parts is very, very terrifying. It just goes to show that these airplane companies are not doing the most to make sure these planes are safe for takeoff. Between the many issues with air traffic control, inexperienced staff, overworked staff to where the staff are admitting to having to use alcohol more and more to cope with being overworked, and now there's multiple issues with maintenance and planes using older parts that are not compatible, the last thing I want to do right now is fly. Looks like a catastrophe is coming to a head. In any case, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.